Hello everyone, this is Niall from windowsnoob.com, and today I'm going to talk about the Reset Windows app, which I've made available and blogged about. I've written 2 blog posts about already, and it gives your end users the ability to easily self-reset Windows and pick the type of reset. And not only that, but it allows the end user to give you feedback as to why they're resetting in the feedback field here, and it also gathers Windows Autopilot related logs and emails them off to the inbox that you specify. So this is all great stuff, but how do you set it up and how do you test it? So if you go to Google and type Endpoint Manager step-by-step guides, you'll see this link here. Click on it, and if you scroll down to the Endpoint Manager Intune section, you'll see that I've written 2 blog posts on gathering logs and sending an email when resetting Windows Autopilot. So part 1 explains how to do it and even includes a version of the tool, but it's an earlier version. And part 2 includes the actual updated script that I'm using in this video. All right, so let's go through what you need to do, and I'll show you how to test it and how to make changes, etc., etc., etc. So the first thing that you'll need to do is, of course, download the scripts, and I've already done that, and we can see they are here. And you'll see I've got some additional files here, and I'll explain where they came from and why. So when you download the scripts, it will just have 2 folders, and you won't have these files here. You will have some files in here, right? The Reset Windows PowerShell script is the script that basically is the app, and there's a README which gives you some instructions about how to set it all up, right? So briefly, download and install MDT, and then copy the service UI.exe file from the MDT path, and it's listed there, and copy it to your Win32 app source folder, and that is the folder that we're in right now. And then copy the Reset Windows PS1 PowerShell script to your Win32 app source folder. It's already there. And copy these files are already in the right place. And then it says run Intune win app util.exe. Specify that as the source, the other one as the script, and finally that will create the application that you can upload to Intune and make available in the company portal to your end users, right? So it's a lot of things that you have to do, and of course you have to have SendGrid in place, right? So I've already been testing the app, and the reason it says failed to install is because I was deleting the registry key, which should be here now, and it is. Okay, so basically when your end users run the application from company portal, they will see this. So let's have a quick look at the tool before we understand how we can test it and use it, right? So if the end user hovers the mouse over an option, it will give them this tooltip which explains what each option does, right? So as you can see, the refresh will allow them to keep their files, but it will remove apps before it does a reset. The wipe option is better. It sort of removes everything, removes apps, settings, and files, and then reinstalls Windows. The last option, secure wipe, is very sensitive, I would say, because not only does it remove files and settings and apps, but in some cases it leaves the device unbootable. Now, why does that happen? It's not clear. I mean, if you go to Endpoint Manager, which I'm going to go to here, and actually select the device, I'll show you something interesting. So let's say pick this device just at random. And let's say I was going to choose, let's say I choose wipe. Yeah, here it is. So it says, if you select this option, please be aware that it might prevent some Windows 10 devices from starting up again. It's a very vague statement, and it's kind of similar in the docs. You know, it might prevent. Now, I have seen it on HP OEM installs that have been set up for Windows Autopilot, that when you choose to do the secure wipe option, they don't boot afterwards, which is very secure. The reason it's called secure is because not only does it delete your files and settings and applications, it also writes bytes to the hard drive, so it makes data recovery much harder for whoever wants to snoop on your device. So it is a good option to have. It works on clean installs, no problem. It works on my VMs, no problem. But as I said, some machines, some installs of Windows 10, it doesn't allow you to boot afterwards. So keep that in mind and maybe alert your end users accordingly, right? So anyway, you've got those three options. The user can put in some text. They can click OK. They'll get a warning, and the warning is dynamic. It changes based on the options you pick here. And this is all customizable via the PowerShell script. If they click OK, it will start the process of gathering Windows Autopilot logs, and it will dump them into the root of C. It'll zip them up, and it will send an email to the email address specified in the PowerShell script. And that's fantastic, because then we have a record of when they're resetting Windows, but also we have the Windows Autopilot diagnostic log files, and we have all log files from the user's temp folder and also C Windows temp. So that's great, a great way for you to, you know, dig a little bit deeper and try and figure out what was wrong with this device and why did they reset it. But I'm not going to do that right now, or maybe I will. Let's just kick off the reset so you see what happens. I'll show you the email because the time is now 8:21 on that clock. Let's click OK and see what happens. So remember, as I said, it's going to create the Autopilot log files, and that's what it's doing there. And it will then create a zip file of that plus all the temp there. It's just created the zip file. And finally, it will convert that into base 64 before it sends it off as an attachment to the email address specified in the PowerShell script. And it does all this automatically. And then finally, it starts resetting Windows. So it's really, really cool, and it's very easy for your end users to use. So if I just revert this VM, we should then see that we have an email waiting for us in the inbox, which explains that Windows was reset on that device. So we'll just take a quick look at that. So let's go to our inbox, and there it is. It's just arrived, and there it is. And if you look at the email, you can see that it tells you information about the computer in question, the locale, the version of Windows 10, the reason entered by the end user, and the type of wipe that they chose. And also, there are log files. Lots of them. So here is the log files. There's the Windows Autopilot cab that you're used to if you've done anything with Windows Autopilot, and you can extract everything that's in there. There's log files from your C Windows temp, and there are log files from the user's temp folder. So it's including even the reset Windows log file. So that's all fantastic. Now I'm going to show you how to set it up and how to test it, right? So in order to test it while you're setting it up, you're going to need PS Tools, you're going to need PSExec, and you'll download that. And basically, let's open up a command prompt. Here I have a command prompt. Let's go to the temp folder, I think. What have we got there? We've got reset Windows. And in there, you can see PSExec. And what I can do is I can do PSExec and then /i/s s and then cmd.exe. Let's see, will this work? Oh no, okay, we have to do this. So PSExec /i/s cmd.exe, and that should launch PSExec. It should launch a command prompt in system context. You can see that there. So this command prompt is in system context, and system context is needed to launch to do a Windows reset using the method specified in the PowerShell script. So that's the reason why I'm loading up PSExec. It's only to test the PowerShell script, just to show you how to test it, right? So if we go into Win32 app source, there is the reset Windows PowerShell script. So if I now launch PowerShell, kind of going around in circles, but you see what I mean. And then type reset Windows, you will see, let's just close this one. You will see that I can launch the app as many times as I want in order to test it, right? So let's try that again. Okay. Acting a bit weird. Okay, let's press enter. Ah, okay. Set execution policy unrestricted. Good. And here we go. So this is how you can test this over and over to your heart's content using PSExec. All right, so that's that. We're just going to cancel out of that. So now I've told you why we're using PSExec. You only need it for testing the script. You do not need it for launching this, because when you deploy it from Intune, it'll be running in system context anyway. All right. So let me tell you a little bit more about the files and why you need them. So that was why you needed PSExec. You can download that yourself. The Intune WinApp util, this is the packaging utility provided by Microsoft on GitHub, and I link to it in that link. Let's go back there again. So endpoint manager, step-by-step guides. There we go. So let's go to the first one again. And in here, you will see that I link to MDT, but I also link to this content prep tool. That's this one. So I'll just open that up just to show you. And in there, you've got Intune WinApp util, and you can just download that. And you can also download MDT. So I've already done these things, and that's why I have the Intune WinApp util exe file there. And if you look in my Win32 app source, I've also copied service UI.exe from this folder, right? From there, and I've copied it into the Win32 app source. You need it, otherwise you cannot display UIs to users in user context when the thing is being deployed in system context, right? So that's why we use service UI. It's to show stuff to end users. It's an amazing trick, and I love it, right? And the install and the uninstall are simply CMD files. CMD files that that launch the exe and kick off the PowerShell script. So that's basically all they do. And here's the PowerShell script itself. Let's take a quick look at that. In fact, let's do it this way. Open the script. There it is. And what's important about this script? Well, first thing is make sure that you've got version 0.03, because that's the updated one, and it's in the second part of the blog. And here we have the actual reset method that must be run in system context. And as you can see, it goes session invoke method, namespace, blah, 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 method name, right? And remember, there are 3 methods provided in the UI. There are more, which I link to in the blog post, and you can see if you can get them to work as well. I haven't tested the additional ones. Maybe they work better, maybe they work less good. I don't know. I haven't had time to test it, but maybe you can and provide feedback. Here is the function I wrote to encrypt, sorry, to convert the attachment to base 64 before it sends the email. And if we scroll down another little bit, we've got some more variables, and this is where it's putting everything together. And this is important here. You can see I've got something called API key. And hopefully when I'm editing this video, I will have blurred that out. It's line 160 there. That API key will be revealed when you create the SendGrid service, right? So let's go ahead and look at how that part is done. So let's open up portal.azure.com, and we're going to click on create a resource. And in the search the marketplace field, type SendGrid, and then click create. Fill in some details. You can use an existing resource group or create a new. I'm going to create a new one called SendGrid. And then pick your location and fill in some details. And you will see that there is a pricing tier, and the default is this one here, which is 40,000 emails a month. And that costs $9.99. You can click on change plan and see the other ones that are available, but that's going to work for this. So we'll stick with that, and then we'll fill in some more details. Okay, are we good? Validation passed. So let's click on create. Now I do have multiple tenants, so I'm hoping that reusing the same email address is not going to cause me a problem with SendGrid. But we'll find out soon enough, I guess. So off it goes. It starts creating that deployment for that resource. We can see what the next steps are by going back to the guide. And in the guide, you'll see that we're on step 4, set up SendGrid in Azure. Fill in some details, as we've just done. The next thing to do after it has created the resource successfully is to go into our SendGrid account, and then we're going to click on manage. All right, so let's see how that's going, shall we? Takes about 2 minutes, I think, from start to finish. And there, it's done. Nice, nice. So we'll click on go to resource, and we'll click on manage. One of the first things it's going to prompt you to do is to, verify who you are, and there it is. So it wants to send a verification email, a confirmation email, and we need to confirm that. So in order to do so, let's click on send confirmation email, and we'll go to our inbox, and we should see one appear. There it is. And what I like to do is open this up and then copy the link, and then go back to wherever I was and open a new tab. This saves me having to log in. Just press enter. Good. That looked like it worked. Okay, so the next thing in our guide is, after we've done that, is to create a sender, right? So let's go ahead and create a sender. And we'll fill in some information. And company address. Sweden. We'll call this one default sender. All right, click on create. And as you can see, we've got our sender, and it says check your inbox at niall@windowsnoob.com to verify your sender identity. And as you can see, I've just got that email. So the first email address you supply must be a real one. Let's go back and let's open this one up. And I'm going to do the same trick as before. Copy. And where were we? Here. And paste. Pasty, pasty. Paste. Oh, come on. Sender verified. Awesome. So now we've got our sender. The next thing to do is to create our API key. And to do that, we're going to expand the settings in the left pane and choose API keys followed by create API key. So that's what it says in the guide. I'll just show you just in case you doubt me. So here it is, create API key. All right. So where were we? We're here. So let's click on API keys and create API key. And you've got 3 different types of access API key permissions. I went with full access. You can experiment with the other ones. It might give you some problems. I haven't tried them yet. However, that's up to you to figure out. So API key name, we'll call it our SendGrid API, right? We'll choose create and view. And this is important. You need to copy your key here because you only get the one chat. So I've copied it. At this point, we're pretty much done with SendGrid. You can now go to your PowerShell script and on line 160, paste in the API key and start testing. So let's do that. Let me show you how to test it, if I didn't already. And to do that, we are in the folder where we have our PowerShell script. There it is, reset Windows. And we are running as system context. And now all we have to do is basically run the script. And remember, this is after pasting in your super secret API key and configuring the to and from email addresses. So as you can see, this is what the tool looks like. You've seen it already. I showed it to you already. But what I'm trying to show you here now is that this is how you are going to test and verify that it works prior to making it available to your users. So you test it, do your thing, customize the text, move the buttons around, add buttons, remove buttons, whatever. It's all in the code, right? And once you're happy with your changes, then comes the next bit, and that is uploading it to Intune. And to do that, you go back here, and you'll see there's the Intune Win app util. And if we just open up command prompt instead, and to create the Intune Win file that you need, you basically go and run that tool like so. Press enter, and it will prompt you, please specify the source folder. So just type in win32 app _source, press enter. And then it says, please specify the setup file, and it's reset windows.ps1. The next one is, please specify the output folder. So now we're going to put in win32 app _target. And then it says, do you want to specify catalog? No, I'm not going to bother. And off it goes, and it creates what we need. And you will see that file now in here. There it is, just created, as you can see here. So how do we use this? This is a Win32 app. Well, if we go to Endpoint Manager, which is where I am here, and go to Apps, now I've already added this as an app, I think. If I haven't, we'll add it. No, I haven't. Okay, so good. I'll show you how it's done. So I will add a Win32 app. This one. And select. So now we have to fill in some details. First thing it wants is the actual file, all right? So we click on that. We point it to the Intune Win app that we just created. So let's find it. And that is in temp, reset Windows, target. It's this one here. So click OK. Now we've got our app. You can give it a better name than this, something like self service Windows reset. Let's give it a version. Oh, let's fill in the publisher. windowsnoob.com. App version 0.03. It's in the actual script itself. What else? Blah, 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 blah. Nope, that's not interesting. Next one is program. So the install command is just going to be install.cmd. The uninstall command is uninstall.cmd. It's that hard. Now, what's very important is the install behavior. It must be in system context. So remember that. Must be in system context. Next one, device restart. No specific action. Next. So requirements, the operating system architecture. It should be 64-bit. And the next one, minimum operating system, well, 1709 or later is what I'd recommend. In the guide, I've basically left it at the default, which is Windows 10 1607, but in reality, it should be Windows 10 1709 or later for these Windows reset abilities. Okay, so the next one is we want to have detection rules. So let's create some detection rules, and we'll choose manually configure and click on add, and we're going to select registry as the type. And in the key path, we're going to type in that lovely reg key, which is H key local machine, H key local machine backslash, come on, keyboard, software, backslash Windows Noob. That'll vary depending on what you put it as a company name in the script. The next one is Autopilot. And then the value name is going to be reset Windows. The detection method should be exists. All right. And finally, are we good there? Yes, let's click OK. And then we're nearly done, nearly done. So that's all done there. Click next. And we can see what we've done. Now we're on the actual deployment itself. So the assignment. So we want to assign this as available for users, right? Now, don't make it required, because if you make it required, then everyone's going to get a pop-up on their desktop saying, hey, why do you want to reset Windows? And that's not really what we want. So we'll make it available so that they can install it at their leisure from the company portal. So what you do is go in, click Add Group, and point it to a group of users that you want to target with this. So I will say okay, let's try users. Let's see what sort of users we have here. That one. Okay, and click Next, and I think we're done. Available for enrolled devices. Yep. Good. So it has gone and created that, and what will happen is that your end users will see, they will see this app available to them in the company portal, as you see here, and they can click on it once, because it's designed to run once, because they're going to reset Windows once. And just as a troubleshooting note, if they want to run it more than once, then you're going to have to come up with some solution for this reg key here. So by deleting it, you can then run it over and over and over and over and over. Okay, so let's do that. I'll delete it like so. And now if I click on here and then reinstall, we should see the app getting downloaded. There it goes. And remember, I'm just a user. And the next thing that should happen is it should appear to the end user, just like magic. So that even though it's in system context, and even though your user could be a standard user, they do not need to be a local admin, they will see this GUI or UI. And it's pretty clever. You can make your choices, put in some information, click OK, and off it goes. And if you don't put in some information, it will tell you that you need to put in some information. So let's put in some information. All right, click OK, and let's just go ahead and do a reset. So like I said, this is how you're going to set everything up. I hope I've covered it all. I think I have. I've shown you how you can test it, how you can set it up, what files you need, and how to create the app itself. So now basically it's up to you to implement this in production and start, or in your test lab, and start testing it and then implement it in production. If you've got feedback, ideas, or where we can take this next, please give me that feedback. Let me know. I'm interested. And there you see, it's going and it's doing its thing. And I've just got an email. I can see it there. You can't see it, but I can see it. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. All right. Thank you. Goodbye.